So, the Super Bowl happened last night, and as a Missourian, I really would rather not talk about the football game, but as an advertiser, I would love to talk about the commercials. The Super Bowl is one of the biggest nights in the entire country when it comes to advertising. After all, companies are spending well over $5 million to get their 30-second to 2-minute ads in front of a ton of people. So they, of course, this is one of the few times that they actually put a worthwhile amount of effort in to create good ads. But how well did they actually do? Because most of these companies, they don't actually really need to get their name out there necessarily. The majority of them you already know, with a couple of exceptions we'll talk about later. But the point is that what they're trying to do with these commercials is get them to stick in your mind and to be thinking and talking about these commercials. So which ones did that well? Well, I'm going to show you a few of the ones that I think stood out for being particularly good, particularly bad, and just generally were interesting. So let's take a look here. So there were a lot of commercials that went for more of the inspirational side of things this year, especially after 2020. A lot of them stressed togetherness. For example, this Jeep commercial talking about meeting in the middle of America, which I thought was pretty cool. Then there was also Let's Grab a Beer by Anheuser-Busch, which was just stressing the togetherness and bringing people together around a beer. Also quite good. Bass Pro Shops, of course, took the approach of trying to get people to come together in the outdoors and shopping there for stuff to get them out, which is a good approach as well. And then Indeed, for a lot of people, this was a really rough year for jobs, and they really wanted to stress that they are here to help people find jobs. So I think Indeed's was also pretty good. And finally, Michelob Ultra had a little spot about being happy as well. That was a nice touch. And of course, it wouldn't be a Super Bowl commercial set if there weren't a ton of celebrity cameos. In particular, there were quite a few that did this a lot. Cheetos had one with Mila Kunis and Ashton Kutcher. And then, of course, I think the one that stood out the most was State Farm got Drake, Paul Rudd, Patrick Mahomes, and Aaron Rodgers all in the same commercial. So I don't even honestly remember, like, at all what the commercial was about. I was just like, wow, they got all those guys. Man, I bet the casting budget was way bigger than the budget it actually took to put it on air. And then Michelob Ultra, again, also almost took a tongue-in-cheek approach to the celebrity cameo stress with talking about an all-star cast where they got a bunch of celebrity lookalikes, with the exception of Don Cheadle, who spotted them all. Nice touch. And, of course, we have to go with the humorous commercials. Of course, whenever Will Ferrell shows up, it's a great commercial. Everybody loves Will Ferrell, and he starred in a very good GM commercial talking about electric vehicles. They did a good job with that one. M&M's also had a fairly amusing commercial talking about apologizing with a bag of M&M's. Nice touch. Let's see here. Doritos also had a good one with Matthew McConaughey. It actually had some pretty cool visual elements with him being flat, and then as soon as he ate a 3D Dorito, he turned 3D inside of a vending machine. I thought that was cool and also visually impressive. Tide was one of the most humorous ones in my opinion, with the Jason Alexander hoodie, showing you how dirty your hoodie gets throughout the day by showing what your hoodie might think if it had a reactive Jason Alexander face on it. I thought that was a really creative idea from them. And of course, Amazon talked about the potential of what might it look like if they put Amazon Alexa in Michael B. Jordan's body and voice, and that one was quite unique and stood out quite a bit. Some others that took some interesting approaches that I thought were worth noting. Uber Eats also went with the cameo route, but in a very unique way with Cardi B, and they specifically stress supporting small businesses. And as a business who is entirely based around promoting small businesses, I of course have to shout out anybody who does that. WeatherTech took a very interesting approach in that they did a commercial basically entirely centered around their employees and talking about how proud they are to work for them and how they're made in the USA. a nice touch, especially for how Heartland-centric the majority of football viewers are. So I thought they did a very good job with that. And finally, there is this one, Oatly. My main notes for this were basically just WTF. I'd never heard of them before, and I don't think a lot of other people had, but we've certainly heard of them now because this commercial was really weird. But hey, it did the job for them, so good for them. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to wrap up with crowning the two that I think are the worst and the best commercials of Super Bowl 55 2021. What is the worst Super Bowl commercial of this year, you might ask? Well, I'll let you give you a moment to guess. It was Robin Hood. Now, it wasn't necessarily because their ad in and of itself was particularly bad. It was fine, talking about you investing in different things in your life and being an investor. Like, the ad itself is fine. However, saying we are all investors right after you come out of a major scandal where you weren't letting certain people be investors, really, really bad look. So they probably just decided to go ahead and air this just because of how much money and preparation they'd already put into it, but just very, very poorly timed. Unfortunate for them. And finally, my personal pick for the best commercials of this Super Bowl was actually Rocket Mortgage. I think they did a really good job of blending humor that kept your attention with actually describing at the end, using that humor, what the product actually did and why it was useful for you. I thought it was one of the funniest sets of commercials. Me and my family were laughing during it, and they also gave a good picture of what they can actually help you to do. So those are my picks, but I, of course, would love to hear from you. What do you think were the best and worst commercials of this year? Did you think that overall they were good, bad? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.